focus, obviously, on the risk that the law is going to open up in ways that presumably haven't been available, which is to regulate how social media platforms, the dominant ones, not all of them, we're talking Twitter, Facebook, et cetera. Whether you can regulate, the government can come in and start regulating how they moderate content, who they can kick off the platform, viewpoint discrimination, et cetera. And still a big First Amendment problem with it, but conservatives on the court indicating that maybe there's a middle ground here and that there is a way to regulate that. So we're going to explore that because it obviously affects the type of product that these social media platforms are selling.
When you say middle ground, what has been constituted as a middle ground on that front?
We don't have real clarity on that, but it's the idea. It used to be the thought they're private entities. And so for the government to say, there's some restrictions on who you can have on the platform or what disinformation you can, sort of categorically take off your platform. The presumption has been that the government just can't have a role there, federal or state. That's First Amendment protected. And now what Justice Alito, Gorsuch, Clarence Thomas seem to be saying is, hey, the law's not clear. Something may be okay. We don't know what. Maybe not the Texas law, but maybe something short of the Texas law. So they want to explore it. This case will go to the Supreme Court for full review and argument. This is just can you enforce the state law? You can't. That's what they're saying. But the whole case, in terms of whether it's what the First Amendment will allow you to do, the conservative justices are saying there's probably something here you can do consistent with the First Amendment. We don't know quite what that is, but we're going to explore that. And by saying that, it's encouraging other states to pass social media laws heading into the election. So we don't have an answer what the middle ground would be, but they're saying something may be drawing on common carrier concepts, public utility regulatory concepts, that something in this area may be acceptable. And I think that's a major change in the legal assumptions about social media that we've had up until last week.
In my head, at least, in rate of change space, it goes from not a lot of risk embedded in these stocks to something that's going to be ongoing. So again, risk is all about probabilities changing. It's not about defining, a number that people people want a number. They want to say, well, what do you think it is? How does it feel? Do you 50%, 80%? You're just going to pick a number that's directionally probably what you think, but it's not scientific. I mean, what is useful is just understanding how probability moves and what the particular items are that move them. So again, moving it to the Supreme Court in full-blown debate and you not knowing what the middle ground is, or me neither, obviously that's why I asked, that just puts it in the wrong rate of change space if you're these social media stocks. I mean, it's not a good catalyst, especially as their earnings are slowing.
The other thing, Keith, I want to emphasize, and which I think is even potentially more important, is this idea of restricting how they monetize their platforms, right? I mean, they have the FTC believes that these big social media platforms, Amazon too, have too much data, and that data is the new oil. That data gives them a strategic competitive advantage over everybody else, and they have scale. So how do you limit these guys? And so what they're talking about is limiting data collection by disincentivizing it, by saying you can't micro or behavioral target your digital ads. I mean, that goes right to the heart of how these things monetize. Who knows how that sort of concept plays into the metaverse? But this is not worked out. And restrictions being proposed, which I think could happen here from the Federal Trade Commission, is another whammy that I think is a real potential problem for these guys that needs to be clarified if people want to have confidence in them going forward.
Hey there, Hedgeye Nation, or if you're not part of Hedgeye Nation, thanks for watching Hedgeye on YouTube. If you haven't already, make sure to click on the button below there. Subscribe to our YouTube page. You can also follow the link in the description to our website to get even more great investing content.